Won't say shit. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another YouTube video. So since summer's coming around and you guys probably follow me for lifting and running, or if not, I'm going to talk about in this video how to lose weight and still perform, and also how to get shredded in summer or just for any event. So you want to be leaner or whatnot. You know, being my biggest self-critic, I always think I could be leaner. It's just how it is, and I feel like everybody thinks that. So I'll give you some tips and tricks, whether you're tracking calories, whether you're not, and how I go about my nutrition and strategy to losing weight for an event, for summer, or just in general to be leaner and sustain it. So with that being said, kicking off our day with the protein coffee, and we end the video. Oh yeah, that's a good one. All right, what's up guys? So we are going for a trail run, which introduces me to the first topic of this video, running and weight loss. Is it a good option? Is it not? How to do it, how to not do it. I am 4 weeks out from running 100 miles. I'll take you on this run and we'll get in the video. So let's do it. Okay, now we're ready. Sunglasses at about 5 miles per hour. Won't say shit. We're halfway through the trail run. One thing I want to start off with for tips to not lose muscle, lose body fat, and also improve your endurance. And the first step is going to be run at a low heart rate. So essentially what running at a low heart rate does, it allows you to not be burnt out. Think of, you know, getting in your vehicle and pressing the gas to the floor. When you press the gas to the floor, you use a lot of fuel. When you use a lot of fuel, you don't have much fuel left over for later on in your trip. Same with life. If you go out and you run as hard as possible, your weight training is going to suffer, your runs are going to suffer, it's going to be harder to recover. So training at a low heart rate, which a good reference range is 180 minus your age, which put you most people around 155 or under beats per minute, 160 beats per minute. So essentially what that does is it keeps your heart rate low. It allows you to increase your aerobic base. It allows you to not suffer from your runs because they're very easy at that heart rate. Your runs are slow and easy. Now, with that being said, it allows you to push in the weight room because you're not pushing that gas pedal all the way down. You're keeping it moderate, almost like going the speed limit, like we don't like to do. But it allows you to train in both ways and burn a lot of body fat in a zone 2 training, which is that 155 beats per minute, 160, zone 2, zone 3, and allows you to increase your aerobic base, burn fat. The more you move in the day, the more calories you can consume, the more calories you'll be able to have in a deficit. So for example, say you don't drive your car very far, you're not going to use a lot of gas. But if you combine weight training and running, you use a lot of fuel. So you can eat more and still be in a deficit. So that is the first step to preserving muscle while running. Now the next tip I have for you is don't be afraid to walk. It's not about how fast you can run when it comes down to losing weight. It comes down to the energy out and the energy in. And if you want to enjoy running, sometimes you just have to walk. Now walking up a hill, or if you live in a hilly area and you feel like the hills kill your run and you can't run far, that is because you are putting these big efforts on the hill. Imagine, like I said, your truck. Put the pedal to the floor at the bottom of the hill, you're gonna burn a lot of gas. Running is more about maintaining. With endurance, to run further and to perform, you gotta build a base, which means you gotta be able to run far in order to be able to run fast up those hills. So with that being said, don't be afraid to walk, don't be afraid to take the hills and slow down. That way you're not burning that fuel, pushing the pedal to the floor, and then you have none left. When you put that pedal to the floor, you use all your energy. What do you think that's going to affect? Like I said before, your weight training. You need energy for both. Remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? Guess who won? The tortoise, because he learned how to conserve energy. That's what running helps with. A method that I use is fast walk the uphills, run the flats, jog the downhills. Just think of your body as a car. Don't use all the fuel in one instinct. Running slow allows you to enjoy your runs and recover. At the end of the day, we all like to run because of the mental benefits, and sometimes the physical is nice, burn a lot of calories, get to eat some more food, but in reality, it's more mentally freeing yourself, mental clarity, and that's why we do it, right? So with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next tip, 4 miles into our 8-mile run. All right, so just got done with the 8-mile run. 10 minutes and 43 seconds. I got lost, got stuck in mud, had a little fun jumping over shit, but yeah, gonna take these off. Don't want to get in the pavement princess truck. What's up, guys? Tip number 3 to losing weight and still performing while being a hybrid athlete. So let's get in the truck and talk about it. Split up your sessions if possible. If not, do them back to back, but make sure that you do your cardio after your weight training. If you can do them separately, do your cardio before your weight training, get your food in before you go weight train. If you can do them separately, do your cardio first and then weight training later. Now you might wonder why I swap them like that. Why should you do your cardio after if you're doing it all in one, and why should you do your cardio first if you're splitting it up? Now it's because when you do it all in one, if you do cardio and then you go expect a weight train with no nutrition on you, with no time to recover, your weight training session is going to take a hit. It's just the reality. Whatever you put your eggs in the basket of more, that's going to be the priority. That's what your body's going to grow the most in. If your goal is to be more of a runner, run first. If your goal is to be more of a lifter, lift first. Your body prioritizes what you prioritize. It's no secret formula. What you get good at is what you do the most and what you put the most effort into. So if you can't split them up, ask yourself, what is more important to me? What isn't? So that's the structure. If you have the time to split it up into 2 days, what I personally believe is the best is to run. And this is because you have the most willpower. Most people don't want to run at 8 o'clock at night. They want to chill, they want to have fun, or they just want to chill, like watch Netflix or whatever, just hang out. That's me. So I run in the morning. Also, when I run in the morning, I get some sort of clarity and it sets me up for the day. I know I did something hard. They say eat the frog. That's because you do the hardest thing in the morning. That way, throughout the day, everything else is easy. So if you have the opportunity to split up into 2 sessions, run first and then weight train later in the day. The reason why I say this is because if you take my advice and you go slow and low, you don't really need too much nutrition at a very low heart rate. The reality of it is you don't need that glycogen power like you do weight training if you're just going for a low and slow easy run in the morning to facilitate that deficit. When you split it up into 2, if you run first, you have plenty of time to get in some carbs, some proteins before that lift, which gives you energy and fuel to push in the gym. Now that is important because if you're not fueling before your weight training workouts, essentially what that means is you're not going to have the ability to really push through the workout and gain that hypertrophy, keep the muscle mass, or even grow muscle mass. And when we're talking about being in a deficit, the most important thing that we all want is to keep on the muscle. So if you're not fueling your body, back to the truck. If I'm not putting fuel in this truck, it's not going to perform well in the weight training sessions because essentially if you ever go in the gym and you feel flat and you haven't eaten before the gym, it sucks. If you get a good carbohydrate meal in there and some protein, you go in the gym and you feel really good. You feel full, like muscles feel full, you get a pump. That's what we want. So by splitting them up, you get time to refuel after that run, and then you can train hard in the weight training session, since mainly when you weight train, glycogen is the powerhouse to lifting more weight and gaining hypertrophy. It's those big intense efforts that uses a lot of glycogen in your muscles. Essentially your muscles are filled with glycogen. They're very stimulated when you do hard intense exercises. So my structure is, if you have the time, split them up into 2 sessions, run in the morning, weight train in the afternoon, do your cardio in the morning, weight training later. Get some carbohydrates in there and some protein to recover from your run, but also fuel your weight training session. That way you're not burning the candle at both ends. If you don't have time and it's early in the morning, say you're running and weightlifting, make sure you get a meal in before, because you're going to be burning a lot of calories during that, and you want to fuel your workouts. If you don't fuel your workouts, you're going to burn the candle at both ends. You're going to be more hungry. Have you ever felt super hungry after a workout? It's because you didn't fuel enough before. You might feel exhausted. You might feel tired. That's all signs of not fueling enough before the workout. That is how you structure your daily workouts as a hybrid athlete. What's up, guys? Now we're gonna move on to the nutrition part of this video. So essentially, I've covered this in my last video, but I really wanna talk about it in a little more depth and simplify it for you. So essentially what your option is when you wanna lose weight is you can either not track calories and follow some guidelines as far as your habits, or you could track calories if you don't understand how many calories are in food, and if you just want that data and that accountability that exactly hey, this is how much I ate for the day. But I get it, some people don't like to track calories, but in order to lose weight, you need structure. And in order to perform and lose weight, you need structure. So why I say this is because you can easily just say, oh, I'm gonna do carnivore and not eat carbs. Well, essentially all you're doing is you're cutting out a macronutrient, which is carbohydrates, and that's gonna make you pretty much just eat proteins and fats. And that sounds cool, but in the reality of carbohydrates are, like I said, the jet fuel. That also can improve your metabolism just because you have more energy throughout the day. So I don't advise going carnivore or keto because it's cutting out a balanced diet. I think the best diet is the one you can stick to. So, I mean, I'm not judging anybody that tries that, but I do think the best diet is something that incorporates all healthy foods, whole foods, and a variety of foods. Because if you think about, hey, what's this diet gonna look like after? The point is it's not a diet. It's like, what can I do forever? Okay, so you gotta think about that. So that's why I think first option is to find your favorite healthy, whole ingredient foods. Not only is that just gonna be easier to stay full while you're in a calorie deficit, but also it's gonna allow you to include more variety in your diet and also just taste amazing. And you can find little ways of doing so by adding seasonings and whatnot, but I do believe that having a balanced diet allows you to, one, adhere to it longer because it's not boring. Two, it allows you to be a little more flexible because you have other options in there. So say you go somewhere and they have carbs. If you are on carnivore, you'd be like, I can't eat that. So I don't think that's the right option. But if you're doing a diet that is just mainly whole foods, high in protein, moderate fat, moderate carb, you're in a great position. So that's what I think is the best option as far as diet and performance as a hybrid athlete, because when you're a hybrid athlete or an athlete or whatever you want to be, bodybuilder, I've done bodybuilding preps, I've done Ironmans. I cannot stress to you enough how important carbohydrates are in your workouts or fueling you for the day. We all want to live a good life, but if you completely cut one thing out that we're supposed to eat and have energy from, I think you're cutting your performance in half, essentially. That's how important nutrition is. Talk about if you want to track calories or not. So I don't think you have to track calories, but I do think you should weigh your food if you're not going to track calories, or just really understand portion sizing. You need structure, or have some general rules like, hey, I don't eat past 7 o'clock at night. That's what I do mostly, 7:30, because I know my bad decisions are after 7:30 at night when I'm hungry. And then in the morning, I wake up hungry because I enjoy that, and it's easier for me to make good decisions, but at night it's always harder. So I just make that easier decision instead of trying to fit things in. I'm just like, hey, I'm just not gonna eat after 7:30 because normally I just want peanut butter cups anyways. So that's the structure that I do myself. I've tracked calories, I've done bodybuilding shows. I understand how many calories are in things, and I understand what the macro and nutrient breakdown is when I see chicken and rice, just from tracking as much as I can. And that's why I really think that you should do it, because it teaches you portion sizes and it teaches you the macro and micronutrients in food because you're tracking it, you're aware of it. Imagine your finances, you track them for a long time, you make good habits, and you can save money without even looking at your bank account because you understand what it takes because you've tracked it before. You've made those right habits. So I think everybody should start out tracking if they're not really aware. And essentially, like I said, that just gets you accountable and allows you to learn from the process and say, okay, you know, this is what works for me. I'm just gonna eat this amount and eyeball it if you have to. After that, you don't have to track calories for the rest of your life, but it teaches you accountability and you learn about the quality and quantity of calories in food. So with that being said, totally up to you. You might ask, what do? I don't track calories as of now. I do in the past. I weigh out all my food still. So yes, I'm still tracking, but I'm not actually putting it into an app just because I already know what I need. Just like I said, I've been doing it and I eat similar foods throughout the whole day for learning about this, which makes it effortless. But I do weigh my food to control portion sizes. So there's 3 options. You can eyeball your food, you can track your food. Another option I think most people can move to after they track calories is just weigh your food. You don't have to enter it into MyFitnessPal once you understand, hey, this is how many calories are in 6 ounces of chicken and 150 grams of rice. So that way you're aware of it, like I said, and you don't have to enter it in because you understand what it takes to fuel your body and get the body you want. But without tracking, it's hard to even get there. So if you want to start tracking calories and you're, you know, frustrated and you can't seem to find that result, I would say tell people to track for a week. Essentially what that does is it allows you to see what your maintenance is, how you normally eat, and if you notice that you're gaining weight, you're eating too many calories. If you notice that you're losing weight, you're eating too less of calories. If your goal is to lose weight, essentially what I do is I reduce my calories from 500 to 750 calories from my maintenance. So you take your maintenance after you track for a week and then subtract 500 to 750. And that pretty much gets you to like 1.5 pounds, maybe a pound of weight loss. So that's slow. And like I said, tortoise in the hare, you know, you can lose weight really fast, but it's not sustainable. You're gonna be ravenous. You know, if someone sticks your head underwater and they, you know, your first instinct when they pull your head out of the water is gonna be to breathe. When someone starves you or you starve yourself, your first instinct is to overeat. When you make small habits of pulling just little things out of your diet, like 500, 750 calories, you will be amazed with how different your body looks over time. It's not gonna happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. So I want you to understand that. But just by chipping away, not pulling the entire diet, but chipping away, you don't notice it as much. Yeah, you're gonna be hungry, that's part of losing weight. That little bit of deficit isn't gonna hurt your training, but what would hurt your training is by slashing those calories in half, because at the end of the day, it's still fuel for your body. And lastly, if you're at the point where you track calories and weigh your food and you can't seem to get your diet under control, I would say best thing to do is to make habits. Like I said, I typically don't eat before 8 o'clock. I eat my first meal high in protein. I try to get 50 to 70 grams of protein in the first meal when I wake up because it sets my day up. It controls my hunger. It doesn't create like this big glucose spike that would make me more hungry. Most people, if you wake up in the morning and have some protein is the most satiating macronutrient and filling, and also it repairs your muscles. So a lot of those nutrients aren't going to your fat storages, they are repairing your muscles from the day before. So that's why I wake up and I have my big protein shake and coffee, and then some eggs normally. And essentially, like I said, that allows me to stay less hungry. That's the way I'm not thinking about food, because I don't like to think about food. I don't like to be hungry. It just works for me, and I think it works for all my clients as well. So I believe that that's the best way to lose weight as far as structure. Start off with 50 to 70 grams of protein. A lot of people want to skip breakfast. Now, if you try to skip breakfast, essentially what that's going to do is it's going to make you more hungry, because your body's like, it keeps score. It's like, okay, I didn't eat. So it's going to be very, very ravenous. Whereas if you have that protein, you're not going to have that huge spike in hunger. You're not going to feel like you need to overeat. So start off your day in the morning with a high protein breakfast. I like to say have 2 lunches. So I'll have my lunch at 11 o'clock and have my second lunch at 3 o'clock. And then for dinner, I'm normally not that hungry because I've had a good amount of food throughout the day. I think the hardest thing is when people push off their meals till the night and they're ravenous. That's when you make the bad decision, when you're overly hungry at night. Everybody wants to have that sweet treat. So that's why I say, instead of backloading your calories, front load your protein and then, eat throughout the day. That way you're fueling yourself for your workouts, because like I said, if you're a hybrid athlete or you're an athlete in general, you need fuel to perform. So overall takeaway is track your calories if you're not aware of what you're eating or what your maintenance is. If you are, maybe weigh your food so you understand portion control. If your goal is to lose weight, subtract 500 to 750 calories from your maintenance when you track for a week, and essentially that will set you up for the weight loss. If your goal is to gain weight, gain muscle, you need to fuel yourself. So I think the training does most of the results. So essentially I like to do 300 to 400 calories surplus. You need to track calories and you already understand and you're still struggling, I would say you need to make some sort of boundaries, like stop eating after a certain time. Notice when you make bad decisions. That's when you need to address those. So most people are at night like myself, so I just make sure that, you know, I eat enough food throughout the day so I don't need to go crazy at night. And overnight, you know, that's when I'm losing the fat because I'm not having all this food at night. So essentially I'm fueling through the day. I'm not eating too crazy at night, so that way my body can lose the fat overnight. So yeah, that's the kind of way I look at it. My body's in a deficit at night, I'm fueling throughout the day. So with that being said, those are my tips for nutrition.